As the MLB trade deadline approaches, every new rumor begins to feel capable of completely changing the course of a season. And right now, there is one name quietly gaining momentum behind the scenes that Yankees fans simply cannot ignore: Taylor Ward. At first glance, this may not seem like the blockbuster deal dominating sports shows and national headlines. But when we take a closer look at the situation, it becomes clear that this story could be far more important than it appears. The Yankees have spent much of the season trying to find offensive consistency around their biggest stars, and Aaron Judge's injury exposed a concern that many fans had already been talking about for months. The roster has talent, there's no debate about that, but it has also revealed a troubling lack of offensive depth whenever its most impactful players are unavailable. Suddenly, a veteran capable of getting on base consistently and producing intelligently becomes far more valuable than he seemed just a few weeks ago. And that is exactly why Taylor Ward's situation deserves our full attention. What makes this story even more interesting is how quickly baseball changes. Not long ago, the Orioles surprised the entire league by acquiring Taylor Ward in a trade that sent young pitcher Grayson Rodriguez to the Angels. At the time, many analysts questioned whether it really made sense to give up so many years of control over a promising pitcher in exchange for just one season of a veteran outfielder. Now, the situation has changed completely. Baltimore has failed to live up to expectations this season and has spent much of the year struggling to keep pace with the top contenders in the American League. Given that reality, the possibility of trading Ward before the deadline is no longer just distant speculation. It now makes a great deal of sense. After all, the franchise could try to recover part of its investment before the player leaves without providing any return. From the Yankees' perspective, the fit seems almost perfect. The lineup desperately needs another hitter capable of reaching base consistently and setting the table for the team's biggest stars. It's true that Ward no longer displays the same power that helped him hit 36 home runs last season, but his offensive profile has evolved in a way that the smartest organizations in MLB highly value. Today, he works counts much better, draws far more walks, has significantly reduced his strikeouts, and forces opposing pitchers into long at-bats every time he steps to the plate. This type of player often becomes even more valuable in the playoffs, when every base runner can decide an entire series. But perhaps the most important part of this story lies in a detail that many people still haven't noticed. When we take a closer look at his numbers, it becomes clear that Ward isn't just going through a different phase. He has made a genuine change in his approach at the plate. His discipline has improved considerably, his pitch selection has become much more refined, and his on-base percentage, hovering near .400, ranks him among the league's best in that category. Imagine a player with that profile hitting near the top of the lineup every day, setting the stage for Ben Rice, and, most importantly, Aaron Judge's return. The pressure on opposing pitchers would increase immediately, giving the Yankees an offensive dimension they have sorely lacked during many stretches of this season. But this is where the story starts becoming even more interesting. The Yankees are not alone in this pursuit. Several World Series contenders are already monitoring Taylor Ward because his remaining salary is relatively low and financially manageable for virtually any organization fighting for a playoff spot. The Phillies, Mariners, Braves, and even the Dodgers are among the clubs showing interest, naturally increasing both the competition and the price the Orioles are expected to demand. This is exactly the type of situation that puts Brian Cashman in front of an extremely delicate decision. Is it worth giving up young prospects for a player who can help immediately but may only remain in the Bronx for a few months? When we look at the bigger picture, everything starts to make sense. The Yankees truly need more offensive production, especially while waiting for Aaron Judge to return, but the front office also knows it cannot jeopardize the franchise's future for a trade that may not be enough to transform the team into the clear favorite to win the championship. It is precisely this balance between urgency and caution that makes this story so fascinating. And as the trade deadline approaches, every new rumor could be the missing piece that reveals the front office's true plan. The big question now is simple. Will Taylor Ward actually wear the Yankees' pinstripes? Or are we simply witnessing another chapter of a much larger deal that is still being built behind the scenes? If there is one factor that could determine the future of this trade, it isn't just Taylor Ward's abilities, but also the extremely competitive market forming around him. The Orioles know they have a valuable asset. Even without matching last season's impressive home run totals, Ward has reinvented his game in a way that attracts any team with World Series ambitions. His on-base percentage, among the best in the league, shows that he continues finding ways to impact games even when the ball isn't leaving the park as often. At a time when every plate appearance can determine a playoff series, players with this combination of discipline and experience are usually highly valued. When we examine the Yankees behind the scenes, it also becomes clear why Ward's name keeps surfacing in conversations. Aaron Judge's injury not only reduced the team's offensive production, but also exposed how dependent the lineup remains on its biggest stars. Cody Bellinger and Trent Grisham have contributed within their limitations, but the front office knows that to compete against powerhouses like the Astros, Rangers, or even the Dodgers in a potential World Series, the roster will need more depth. A hitter capable of working deep counts, increasing the number of base runners, and delivering quality at-bats can make a tremendous difference during the most important moments of the season. However, the biggest obstacle may not be the baseball fit, but the cost of the trade. With a relatively low remaining salary, Ward has become financially accessible to virtually every championship contender. That means the bidding is likely to drive up Baltimore's asking price quickly, forcing Brian Cashman to decide whether sacrificing top prospects for a short-term addition is worthwhile. There is also the possibility that the Yankees could explore a larger deal involving additional Orioles players, repeating strategies used in previous seasons to maximize the immediate return without completely compromising the organization's future. That decision could shape not only the remainder of this season, but also the franchise's direction for years to come. As the trade deadline draws closer, the pressure continues to build inside and outside Yankee Stadium. Every win, every loss, and every update on Aaron Judge directly influences the front office's strategy. It is in this environment that the possible arrival of Taylor Ward becomes more than just another acquisition. It becomes a decision capable of changing the course of the season. If the Yankees truly believe they have a legitimate chance to compete for the World Series, this is the moment to prove it through action. Standing still while their biggest rivals strengthen their rosters could prove extremely costly once October arrives. But there is another aspect that makes this story even more intriguing. If the Yankees truly pursue Ward, the deal will almost certainly not be made impulsively. Brian Cashman has built his reputation by carefully analyzing every detail before completing any major agreement. The front office knows that the farm system remains essential to keeping the franchise competitive in the years ahead, and giving up young talent for a player nearing the end of his contract requires tremendous conviction. That is why expectations continue to grow that New York will attempt to include Ward in a larger trade, involving additional pieces capable of strengthening multiple areas of the roster and maximizing the immediate impact of the deal. Meanwhile, the competition continues watching every move closely. The Phillies, Mariners, Braves, and Dodgers also remain interested, and it would take only one aggressive offer to completely reshape the market. The more teams enter the bidding, the higher the Orioles' asking price is likely to climb, reducing the Yankees' negotiating leverage. This is exactly the kind of bidding war that could force the front office to choose between acting quickly or pursuing less expensive alternatives. When we step back and look at the entire situation, one thing becomes obvious. The next few days could determine the Yankees' fate this season. Taylor Ward may not be the biggest superstar available on the market, but his profile perfectly matches a need that has become increasingly clear throughout the season. Now the question is whether the front office believes he is the missing piece capable of strengthening our team for a deep playoff run, or if an even bigger plan is already being prepared behind the scenes in the Bronx. Regardless of how this story ends, one thing is certain. The next few days promise to be decisive for the Yankees' future. If Taylor Ward truly arrives in the Bronx, the team will gain an experienced, disciplined hitter capable of strengthening a lineup that has felt Aaron Judge's absence during key moments of the season. On the other hand, if the front office chooses to protect its top prospects, that will also show that a long-term strategy remains in place despite the pressure for immediate results. Now the ball is in Brian Cashman's court, and every decision made before the trade deadline could directly influence the race toward the playoffs and, perhaps, the World Series. And I want to hear your opinion. Would you make this trade? Do you believe Taylor Ward is exactly the player the Yankees need? Or would you rather see the team pursue someone else on the market? Leave your answer in the comments. Until next time, Yankees Nation.